Hi, welcome back to Art 320. This is week 4, module 3. I just wanted to touch bases with some of you and see how everybody's doing in terms of the class. So this week we're on module 3, and module 3 is quite long, as one student pointed out. It's a bit verbose. But it is information that you can take with a grain of salt. It's just a lot of information is needed in terms of web development, web design. Whether or not you applied in this class, you may not, but if you are planning to do web development and design in the future, it is something that you should note down and you can keep for reference. So let me just go over the overview of Module 3. So Module 3 is about 3 weeks in time frame. So this week, I suggest that you skim through and you read through the modules, see what you need to do. Quiz 3 is due next week, Monday, as well as Exercise 5, User Research. Exercise 5, User Research is a little bit different this time in that I would like you to provide visual justification of your answers. I have narrowed down some of the questions to make it a bit easier, and I've given you an example within Module 3 about how to conduct that. In terms of what I did. And as I said, please don't mind the floating ease. In Module 3 also, we have 2 other exercises. We have the mood board exercise, um, which will help us get started in the web development phase and actually put stuff down concrete and get us rolling in terms of getting ready and prepared for our project, which is also being introduced in this module. And then, of course, Adobe XD Exercise 7, which involves a little bit of designing on our end. And as I mentioned here on Adobe XD, for Exercise 7, if your particular website does not have the content that you want, you can use the Lorem Ipsum website to get filler content for you. So I would suggest choosing 2 or 3 paragraphs and then ask the site to generate you filler text. Okay. So let's see. Let me just quickly go over project 1 with you. So project 1 involves building a website, which I call a web experience, and I have 2 examples here that you can look through. You're going to have to tell me what platform you plan to use, because some of you have expressed that you've already have experience in certain platforms and you prefer a particular platform. And as I mentioned before, I'm not so concerned about the platform, but how you develop that platform will still follow the same rules as all web development steps do. So I'm not so concerned about the platform, though I do want us to learn a little bit more about WordPress, just because majority of the organizations and companies use WordPress as their content management system. I've broken down the project into 5 phases or 4 phases. The first phase we'll be working on in this module, and then phase 2 in the next module, and so on and so forth. So you can read through, and if you have any questions, you can let me know, but I do want you to let me know what content management system you'll be using. So that's pretty much it. We're really now going into the development end of developing a website. We're looking more closely at web style guides, the type, writing for the web, also creating a mood board and style guide to help us guide through building that website. All these steps are important in terms of creating a cohesive web design and web presence online. And pretty much we're looking at that all through Module 3. So if you have any questions, let me know. And then, of course, we have um, our next project, which will be introduced in Module 4, which is our portfolio, which is a little bit more straightforward. So I want us to get going on our Project 1. And as I discussed in Project 1, your elements will be duplicated going into your Dropbox for myself to look at and grade, and then as well as in the discussion area for others to comment on. So each of you has your own what is it called, discussion board platform to post your work on. And I have here project 1 and then project 2, and you all put your elements there for other students to look at and comment on. And you can see an example for the project 1 website, since that's the first. You can see the different phases, whether it's the persona, your journey map, how journey map, which is how people will interact, and then your prototypes, your wireframes, and so on and so forth. Okay. So that's about it for Module 3. If you have any questions, as I said earlier, please let me know. And then, yeah, so enjoy.